Hi again. We are going to read Act 2 of Julius Caesar. So if you don't have your book already, go get your book and let's start in. Scene 1 opens at Brutus's house, in his garden, in his orchard. And Brutus is there and he's calling to his servant Lucius. What, Lucius, ho! I cannot by the progress of the stars give guessed how near today. I'm out here watching the stars move across the sky, and I'm wondering how close it is to morning, but I can't tell. Lucius, I say, I would it were my fault to sleep so soundly. When, Lucius, when? Awake, I say. What, Lucius? And poor Lucius, he comes in, he's kind of rubbing his eyes. Called you, my lord? Get me a taper in my study, Lucius. A taper is a candle. When it is lighted, come and call me here. I will, my lord. And he leaves. Now, Brutus is going to have a talk with himself, a soliloquy or a monologue. And in a play, it helps us know what the character is thinking. Usually we find out what they're thinking because they're talking to someone else. But when they talk to themselves, they think out loud. We know what they're thinking too. It must be by his death. And for my part, I know no personal cause to spurn at him but for the general. I don't have anything against Caesar personally. He's a nice enough guy. But the general reason, the good of Rome, is that I think he wants to be king. I think he wants to make himself king. And the only way to stop it is by his death. He would be crowned. How that might change his nature, there's the question. It is the bright day that brings forth the adder, and that craves wary walking. Crown him? That, and then I grant we put a sting in him, that at his will he may do danger with. The abuse of greatness is when it disjoins remorse from power. And to speak truth of Caesar, I have not known when his affections swayed more than his reason. But 'tis a common proof that lowliness is young ambition's ladder, whereto the climber upward turns his face. But when he once attains the utmost round, he then unto the ladder turns his back, looks in the clouds, scorning the base degrees by which he did ascend. So Caesar may, then lest he may, prevent. You know, when people get ambitious, they start out a nice enough person, but when they start climbing that ladder of ambition, they get to the top, suddenly they become mean to the people who helped them there. They become guarding of their power. And Caesar may. So because he may, we're going to have to stop it before it happens. And since the quarrel will bear no color for the thing he is, fashion it thus, that what he is augmented would run to these and these extremities, and therefore think of him as a serpent's egg, which hatched would as his kind grow mischievous and kill him in the shell. Lucius comes back in. Says, the taper burneth in your closet, sir. Searching the window for a flint, I found this paper thus sealed up, and I am sure it did not lie there when I went to bed. Gives him a letter. We know where these letters are coming from. They're coming from Cassius and his band, who have been told to slip letters to Brutus wherever he can find them, to encourage him on, to egg him on, and this is one of those. Get you to bed again. It is not day. Is not tomorrow, boy, the Ides of March? I know not, sir. Look in the calendar and bring me word. I will, sir. The exhalations whizzing in the air give so much light that I may read by them. The meteors, remember there's all these portents, the storms, lights in the sky, omens of some great thing that's going to happen. The meteors are so bright he can read the letter. He opens the letter and reads, Brutus, thou sleepst. Awake and see thyself. Shall Rome, etc. Speak, strike, redress. Brutus, thou sleepst. Awake. Such instigations have been often dropped where I have took them up. Shall Rome, etc. Thus must I piece it out. Shall Rome stand under one man's law? What, Rome? My ancestors did from the streets of Rome the Tarquin drive, when he was called a king. Speak, strike, redress. Am I entreated to speak and strike? O Rome, I make thee promise, if the redress will follow, thou receivest thy full petition at the hand of Brutus. Lucius comes back in and says, "Sir, March is wasted 15 days. Tomorrow is the Ides of March." And suddenly, there's knocking. "'Tis good. Go to the gate. Somebody knocks. Since Cassius first did wet me against Caesar, I have not slept. Between the acting of a dreadful thing and the first motion, all the interim is like a phantasma or a hideous dream. The genius and the mortal instruments are then in council, and the state of man, like to a little kingdom, suffers then the nature of an insurrection." You know, between the time when you get an idea or an idea gets put in your head and you actually do it, your mind and your spirit are in turmoil. Should I? Will it all go okay? Am I making the right decision? But once you set out and do it, the decision is made. Does that make sense? And so during that time, your insides are in turmoil. He says, your spirit, your mind are like a little kingdom having a rebellion. Brutus says, that's what my insides are like right now. I haven't slept. Lucius comes back in and says, "Sir, 'tis your brother Cassius at the door, who doth desire to see you." "Is he alone?" "No, sir. There are mo with him." "Do you know them?" "No, sir. Their hats are plucked about their ears, and half their faces buried in their cloaks, that by no means I may discover by any mark of favor." They're hiding their faces. It's dark, but they're still hiding their faces. Well, two things. They're coming in the dark, and they're hiding. They don't want to be known. Let them enter. They are the faction. "O conspiracy, shamest thou to show thy dangerous brow by night, when evils are most free? Oh, then by day, where wilt thou find a cavern dark enough to mask thy monstrous visage? Seek none, conspiracy. Hide it in smiles and affability. For if thou path thy native semblance on, not Erebus itself were dim enough to hide thee from prevention." If conspiracy hides in the dark, what is it like in the light? It can't hide. So how does it hide? It puts on smiles and affability. You seem friendly. You seem happy when you're up to no good. That's what we have to do. All right. The whole group of conspirators, led by Cassius, comes into the room, and Cassius says, "I think we are too bold upon your rest. Good morrow, Brutus. Do we trouble you?" "I have been up this hour, awake all night." "Know I these men that come along with you?" "Yes, every man of them, and no man here but honors you. And every one doth wish you had but that opinion of yourself which every noble Roman bears of you. This is Trebonius. He's welcome hither. This Decius Brutus. He is welcome too. This Casca, this Cinna, and this Metellus Cimber. They are all welcome. What watchful cares do interpose themselves betwixt your eyes and night? What are you doing up at this hour? What are you thinking?" Cassius says, "Shall I entreat a word?" And he calls Brutus off to the side. And while Brutus and Cassius are having a little discussion, the other conspirators have a conversation that the audience can hear. Decius says, "Here lies the east. Doth not the day break here?" Cassius says, "No." Cinna says, "Oh, pardon, sir, it doth. And yon gray lines that fret the clouds are messengers of day." "You shall confess that you are both deceived. Here as I point my sword, the sun arises, which is a great way growing on the south, weighing the youthful season of the year. Some 2 months hence, up higher toward the north, he first presents his fire, and the high east stands as the capital, directly here." These guys are having an odd conversation about which way is east. What, is the sun rising? I think it's over. No, it's over here. No, the capital is over here. This is the east. And they're having a discussion about the directions, and they can't agree. And these guys are getting ready to change Roman history. They're getting ready to get rid of Julius Caesar and save Rome as they think. And they don't even know which direction is east. These guys are confused, and they can't agree. And these seem like two very bad traits for a conspiracy. Okay, Brutus and Cassius are done talking. They come back into the group of the rest of the conspirators. "Give me your hands all over, one by one. Shake my hand." Cassius says, let us swear let us swear our resolution, swear an oath. Brutus says, no, not an oath. If not the face of men, the sufferance of our souls, the time's abuse, if these be motives weak, break off betimes, and every man hence to his idle bed. So let high-sighted tyranny rage on, till each man drop by lottery. But if these, as I'm sure they do, bear fire enough to kindle cowards, and to steal with valor the melting spirits of women, then, countrymen, why need we spur but in I'm sorry, what need we any spur but our own cause to prick us to redress? What other bond than secret Romans that have spoke the word and will not palter? And what other oath than honesty to honesty engaged, that this shall be or we will fall for it? We don't need to swear an oath. We've got our honor. Let's just rest on our honor. If our cause is just, honor is enough. Swear priests and cowards and men cautelous, old feeble carrions, and such suffering souls that welcome wrongs. Unto bad causes swear such creatures as men doubt, but do not stain the even virtue of our enterprise, nor the insuppressive metal of our spirits, to think that or our cause or our performance did need an oath. When every drop of blood that every Roman bears, and nobly bears, is guilty of a several bastardy, if he do break the smallest particle of any promise that hath passed from him. It's for bad people with bad plans to swear oaths. We're good people with a good plan. Cassius says, but what of Cicero? Shall we sound him? I think he will stand very strong with us. We haven't invited Cicero in. He's great. Everybody respects him. Should we invite him in? Cassius says, let us not leave him out. Cinna says, no, by no means. Metellus, oh, let us have him, for his silver hairs will purchase us a good opinion, and buy men's voices to commend our deeds. And it shall be said his judgment ruled our hands. Our youths and wildness shall no whit appear, but all be buried in his gravity. They're all on board. Let's get Cicero. Brutus says, oh, name him not. Let us not break with him, for he will never follow anything that other men begin. Then let us leave him out. Indeed, he is not fit. Okay. Twice in a row. Did you just notice? Brutus has disagreed with all of them. No, we're not going to swear an oath. No, we're not going to invite Cicero in. Next question. Shall no man else be touched but only Caesar? Should we kill anybody else while we're at it? Cassius says, Decius well urged. I think it is not meet Mark Antony, so well beloved of Caesar, should outlive Caesar. We shall find of him a shrewd contriver, and you know his means, if he improve them, may well stretch so far as to annoy us all, which to prevent, let Antony and Caesar fall together. Mark Antony is his best friend, and after this is done, Mark Antony may cause trouble. I think we should kill Antony too. Here comes Brutus again. Our course will seem too bloody, Caius Cassius, to cut the head off and then hack the limbs, like wrath in death and envy afterwards. For Antony is but a limb of Caesar. Let us be sacrificers, but not butchers, Caius. We all stand up against the spirit of Caesar, and in the spirit of men there is no blood. Oh, that we then could come by Caesar's spirit and not dismember Caesar. But, alas, Caesar must bleed for it. And, gentle friends, let's kill him boldly, but not wrathfully. Let's carve him as a dish fit for the gods, not hew him as a carcass fit for hounds. And let our hearts, as subtle masters do, stir up their servants to an act of rage, and after seem to chide him. This shall make our purpose necessary and not envious, which so appearing to the common eyes, we shall be called purgers, not murderers. And for Mark Antony, think not of him, for he can do no more than Caesar's arm when Caesar's head is off. I don't want this to seem like we're just on a page of jealousy or anger. This is policy. This is strategic. We want it to appear that way to everyone else. Antony's just a limb of Caesar. We kill Caesar, his limbs can't do anything. But we want to present ourselves as working for the good of the country, not butchers. Cassius says, yet I fear him, for in the ingrafted love he bears to Caesar, Brutus interrupts him, alas, good Cassius, do not think of him. If he loves Caesar, all that he can do is to himself take thought and die for Caesar. And that were much he should, for he is given to sports, to wildness, and much company. He could kill himself if he's upset about Caesar's death, but that's it. Trebonius decides to agree with Brutus again. There is no fear in him. Let him not die, for he will live and laugh at this hereafter. Now, it says in the stage directions that a clock strikes. This is one of the anachronism jokes of Shakespeare. Anachronism is when something is put in a time where it doesn't belong. And there were no striking, chiming clocks in Rome. And but Shakespeare puts one in because in Shakespeare's time there was. So it's kind of funny. So they hear a clock striking. The clock has peace, count the clock. The clock hath stricken 3. 'Tis time to part. But it is doubtful yet whether Caesar will come forth today or no. For he is superstitious grown of late, quite from the main opinion he held once of fantasy, of dreams and ceremonies. It may be these apparent prodigies, the unaccustomed terror of this night, and the persuasion of his augurers may hold him from the capital today. This has been a bad night. There's the flaming guys walking the streets and meteors and comets and lions prowling in the capital. And Caesar has recently become superstitious. I don't know why. He didn't used to be. And maybe he won't come to the capital today because he will think the omens are bad. And if he doesn't come, we can't kill him because that's where we're going to do it. Decius says, never fear that. If he be so resolved, I can o'ersway him. For he loves to hear that unicorns may be betrayed with trees, and bears with glasses, elephants with holes, lions with toils, and men with flatterers. But when I tell him he hates flatterers, he says he does, being then most flattered. Let me work, for I can give his humor the true bent, and I will bring him to the capital. Cassius says, nay, we will all of us be there to fetch him. By the 8th hour, is that the uttermost? Be that the uttermost, and fail not then. Caius Ligarius doth bear Caesar hard, who rated him for speaking well of Pompey. I wonder none of you have thought of him. We left somebody out, Caius Ligarius. He has a grudge against Caesar because Caesar chewed him out for praising Caesar's archenemy Pompey. Why didn't we invite him in? Brutus says, now good Metellus, go along by him. He loves me well, and I have given him reasons. Send him but hither, and I'll fashion him. Send him to me, I'll get him in. The morning comes upon us. We'll leave you, Brutus, and friends, disperse yourselves, but all remember what you have said, and show yourselves true Romans. Brutus says, good gentlemen, look fresh and merrily. Let not our looks put on our purposes, but bear it as our Roman actors do, with untired spirits and formal constancy. And so good morrow to you, everyone. They all leave, and Brutus is alone. Boy, Lucius! Fast asleep. It is no matter. Enjoy the honey-heavy dew of slumber. Thou hast no figures nor no fantasies, which busy care draws in the brains of men. Therefore thou sleep so sound. In comes Portia. Portia is Brutus's wife. And she says, Brutus, my lord. Portia, what mean you? Wherefore rise you now? It is not for your health thus to commit your weak condition to the raw cold morning. Nor for yours neither. You've ungently, Brutus, stole from my bed, and yesternight at supper you suddenly rose and walked about, musing and sighing, with your arms across. And when I asked you what the matter was, you stared upon me with ungentle looks. I urged you further, then you scratched your head, and too impatiently stamped with your foot. Yet I insisted, yet you answered not, but with an angry wafture of your hand gave sign for me to leave you. So I did, fearing to strengthen that impatience which seemed too much enkindled, and withal hoping it was but an effect of humor, which sometime hath his hour with every man. It will not let you eat, nor talk, nor sleep. And could it work so much upon your shape as it hath much prevailed on your condition, I should not know you, Brutus. Dear my lord, make me acquainted with your cause of grief. Brutus, I must be blind if I haven't noticed you have something on your mind. You get up in the middle of the night, you don't answer my questions. I've tried to think, it's just, you're in a bad mood. Sometimes people are in just a bad mood, but this is going on way too long. You need to tell me what's up. Brutus says, I'm not well in health, and that is all. Brutus is wise, and were he not in health, he would embrace the means to come by it. You're not an idiot, Brutus. If you were sick, you'd call the doctor. You'd embrace the means to come by it. Why, so I do, good Portia. Go to bed. I am unwell, but I'm unwell because Rome is about to have a king, and I am seeking the means to bring health back, just not in the way you think. Is Brutus sick? And is it physical to walk unbraced and suck up the humors of the dank morning? What, is Brutus sick? And will he steal out of his wholesome bed to dare the vile contagion of the night, and tempt the roomy and unpurged air to add unto his sickness? No, my Brutus, you have some sick offense within your mind, which by the right and virtue of my place I ought to know of. And upon my knees I charm you, by my once commended beauty, by all your vows of love, and that great vow which did incorporate and make us one, that you unfold to me yourself, your half, why you are heavy, and what men tonight have had resort to you. For here have been some 6 or 7 who did hide their faces even from darkness. Kneel not, gentle Portia. I should not need if you were gentle Brutus. Within the bond of marriage, tell me, Brutus, is it accepted I should know no secrets that appertain to you? Am I yourself, but as it were in sort or limitation to keep with you at meals, comfort your bed, and talk to you sometimes? Do I lie but in the suburbs of your good pleasure? If it be no more, Portia is Brutus's harlot, not his wife. You are my true and honorable wife, as dear to me as are the ruddy drops that visit my sad heart. If this were true, then should I know this secret? I grant I am a woman, but withal a woman that Lord Brutus to wife. I grant I am a woman, but withal a woman well reputed, Cato's daughter. Cato was the noted great orator, leader in the Senate, who had not very long before this died in North Africa. He was a strong, brave man, and she says, I'm a woman, but I'm Brutus's wife. I'm a woman, but I'm Cato's daughter. I can take it. Think you I am no stronger than my sex, being so fathered and so husbanded? Tell me your counsels. I will not disclose them. I have made strong proof of my constancy, giving myself a voluntary wound here in the thigh. Can I bear that with patience and not my husband's secrets? She has stabbed herself in the thigh, and she just now shows him. She moves aside her robe and shows him. Look what I can take. You think I can't take your secrets? Look what I can do. Oh, ye gods, render me worthy of this noble wife. There's knocking. Hark, hark, one knocks. Portia, go in a while, and by thy bosom shall partake the secrets of my heart. All my engagements I will construe to thee, all the charactery of my sad brows. Leave me with haste. Lucius, who's that knocks? Lucius comes in with Ligarius. He's the guy they had left out inadvertently, and Brutus said, send him to me. Here's a sick man that would speak with you. He's got a handkerchief over his face. He's not well. He's come out, he's got a bad cold or something. Caius Ligarius, that Metellus spake of. Boy, stand aside. Caius Ligarius, how? Vouchsafe good morrow from a feeble tongue. Oh, what a time you have chose out, brave Caius, to wear a kerchief. Would that you were not sick. I am not sick, if Brutus have in hand any exploit worth the name of honor. Such an exploit have I in hand, Ligarius, had you a healthful ear to hear of it. By all the gods that Romans bow before, I here discard my sickness. Soul of Rome, brave son derived from honorable loins, thou, like an exorcist, hast conjured up my mortified spirit. You have brought health to me, because you are promising, I'm not sure what is up, but you are promising health to Rome again, and I'm in. Now bid me run, and I will strive with things impossible. Yea, get the better of them. What's to do? A piece of work that will make sick men whole. But are not some whole that we must make sick? That must we also. What is it, my Caius? What it is, my Caius, I shall unfold to thee, as we are going to whom it must be done. Set on your foot, and with a heart new fired I follow you, to do I know not what, but it sufficeth that Brutus leads me on. Follow me then. All right, that's the end of scene 1. In scene 2, we're now going to Caesar's house that morning. And of course, it's still thundering and lightning. It's early morning, maybe still not completely light. And Caesar is still in his nightgown. Nor heaven nor earth have been at peace tonight. Thrice hath Calpurnia in her sleep cried out, help, ho, they murder Caesar. It's been a rough night. My wife Calpurnia woke up several times screaming in her sleep. thinking I was being killed. Who's within? A servant comes in. My lord, go bid the priests do present sacrifice and bring me their opinions of success. I will, my lord. I want the priest to offer the morning sacrifice and check the entrails of the animal, because if there's anything wrong in its innards, that's a bad omen. That's a bad sign. I want to know what the omens are. His wife Calpurnia comes in and says, What mean you, Caesar? Think you to walk forth? You shall not stir out of your house today. He says, Caesar shall forth. The things that threatened me ne'er looked on but on my back. When they shall see the face of Caesar, they are vanished. Oh, all the bad omens, everything bad that might happen, it just looks at my back. When I turn around and show my face, all bad things run away. Caesar, his wife continues, Caesar, I never stood on ceremonies, yet now they frighten me. There is one within, besides the things that we have seen and heard, recounts most horrid sights seen by the watch. A lioness hath whelped in the streets, and graves have yawned and yielded up their dead. Fierce fiery warriors fight upon the clouds, in ranks and squadrons in right form of war, which drizzled blood upon the Capitol. The noise of battle hurtled in the air, horses did neigh, and dying men did groan, and ghosts did shriek and squeal about the streets. Oh, Caesar, these things are beyond all use, and I do fear them. Oh, we've heard even worse things have been going on last night. Servants came in, they were out in the streets, they saw terrible things. Caesar says, What can be avoided whose end is purposed by the mighty gods? Can you avoid fate? Yet Caesar shall go forth, for these predictions are to the world in general as to Caesar. You know, the whole world saw all these things. What makes you think they're messages to me? They could be messages to someone else. She says, When beggars die, there are no comets seen. The heavens themselves blaze forth the death of princes. Omens are always directed toward the great and the mighty, not towards just anyone. He answers, Cowards die many times before their deaths. The valiant never taste of death but once. Of all the wonders that I yet have heard, it seems to me most strange that men should fear, seeing that death, a necessary end, will come when it will come. The servant comes in and he says, What say the augurs? They would not have you to stir forth today. Plucking the entrails of an offering forth, they could not find a heart within the beast. The sacrificial animal had no heart. That's got to be a bad sign. The gods do this in shame of cowardice. Caesar should be a beast without a heart if he should stay at home today for fear. No, Caesar shall not. Danger knows full well that Caesar is more dangerous than he. We are 2 lions littered in one day, and I the elder and more terrible, and Caesar shall go forth. His wife says, Alas, my lord, your wisdom is consumed in confidence. Do not go forth today. Call it my fear that keeps you in the house and not your own. We'll send Mark Antony to the Senate house, and he shall say you are not well today. Let me upon my knee prevail in this. Caesar said, Mark Antony shall say I am not well, and for thy humor I will stay at home. Okay, Calpurnia, you got it. I'll do it. I'll sit you to say, I can't come, I'm not well. And right at that moment, Decius comes in. Decius is the guy who in the previous scene said, Don't worry, if Caesar says he's not coming out to the Capitol, I'll make sure he does. Here's Decius Brutus, and he shall tell them so. Decius says, Caesar, all hail. Good morrow, worthy Caesar. I come to fetch you to the Senate house. And you are come in very happy time to bear my greetings to the senators and tell them that I will not come today. Cannot is false. That I dare not, falser. I will not come today. Tell them so, Decius. His wife says, Say sick. Caesar says, Shall Caesar send a lie? Have I in conquest stretched mine arm so far to be afeard to tell graybeards the truth? Decius, go tell them Caesar will not come. He says, Most mighty Caesar, let me know some cause, lest I be laughed at when I tell them so. Caesar says, The cause is in my will. I will not come. That is enough to satisfy the Senate. But for your private satisfaction, because I love you, I will let you know. Calpurnia, here my wife, stays me at home. She dreamt tonight she saw my statue, which like a fountain with 100 spouts did run pure blood. And many lusty Romans came smiling and did bathe their hands in it. And these she does apply for warnings and portents and evils imminent, and on her knee hath begged that I will stay at home today. Decius says, this dream is all a misinterpreted. It was a vision fair and fortunate. Your statues spouting blood in many pipes, in which so many smiling Romans bathed, signifies that from you great Rome shall suck reviving blood, and that great men shall press for tinctures, stains, relics, and cognizance. This, by Calpurnia's dream, is signified. You know, a dream about you being a statue spouting fountains of blood, that can't possibly be about your murder, says the man who's getting ready to murder him. It must mean that your blood, yourself, your spirit is reviving Rome, just like the blood courses through our veins and revives our body. That's how to interpret this dream. Caesar says, and this way you have well expounded it. I like that. Decius says, I have, when you have heard what I can say, and know it now. The Senate have concluded to give this day a crown to mighty Caesar. If you shall send them word you will not come, their minds may change. Besides, it were a mock apt to be rendered for someone to say, break up the Senate till another time, when Caesar's wife shall meet with better dreams. If Caesar hide himself, shall they not whisper, lo, Caesar is afraid? Pardon me, Caesar, for my dear, dear love to you, to your proceeding bids me tell you this, and reason to my love is liable. Excuse me for saying things like this, but you wouldn't want people to think you're chicken, would ya? Caesar says, how foolish do your dreams seem now, Calpurnia? I am ashamed I did yield to them. Give me my robe, for I will go. That moment, the rest of the band, the conspirators who were going to meet him and escort him to the Senate. And look, where Publius has come to fetch me. Good morrow, Caesar. Welcome, Publius. What, Brutus? Are you stirred so early too? Good morrow, Casca. Caius Ligarius. Caesar was ne'er so much your enemy as that same ague which hath made you lean. What is it o'clock? Caesar, 'tis struck an 8. I thank you for your pains and courtesy. See, Antony, that revels long o' nights, is notwithstanding up. Good morrow, Antony. So to most noble Caesar. Bid them prepare within. I am to blame to be thus waited for. Now Cinna, now Metellus, what, Trebonius? I have an hour's talk in store for you today. Remember that you call on me today. Be near me, that I may remember you. Hey, Trebonius, I want to have a word with you later. I have a private conversation. Stay close to me, Trebonius. And he says, Caesar, I will. And so near will I be that your best friends shall wish I had been farther. Good friends, go in and taste some wine with me, and we like friends will straightway go together. And they go in, but Brutus, aside, means he says it to the audience, but not so the rest of the characters can hear. That every like is not the same, O Caesar, the heart of Brutus yearns to think upon. We like friends. We'll go straightway together, Brutus says. Not every like is the same sort of like. Like isn't the correct word to describe what's going on here. We are not like friends anymore. Or we are like friends to Rome, but not like friends to you. All right. End of scene 2. Scene 3, very short, in a street near the Capitol, and we meet a man named Artemidorus. He may or may not be the seer and the prophet we meet in just a couple of scenes. And he's reading a paper. He's written a note to Caesar, and it says this: Caesar, beware of Brutus. Take heed of Cassius. Come not near Casca. Have an eye to Cinna. Trust not Trebonius. Mark well Metellus Cimber. Decius Brutus loves thee not. Thou hast wronged Caius Ligarius. There is but one mind in all these men, and it is bent against Caesar. If thou beest not immortal, look about you. Security gives way to conspiracy. The mighty gods defend thee. Thy lover Artemidorus. Here will I stand till Caesar pass along, and as a suitor will I give him this. My heart laments that virtue cannot live out of the teeth of emulation. I'm sad that every great person's got to have people jealous that want to work against him. I think these guys are just jealous. If thou read this, O Caesar, thou mayest live. If not, the fates with traitors do contrive. Next scene. Another part of the street, but now we're in front of Brutus's house. And Portia and their servant Lucius are standing out front. And Portia says, I prithee, boy, run to the Senate house. Stay not to answer me, but get thee gone. Why dost thou stay? To know my errand, madam. I would have had thee there, and here again, ere I can tell thee what thou shouldst do there. O Constancy, be strong upon my side. Set a huge mountain between my heart and tongue. I have a man's mind, but a woman's might. How hard it is for women to keep counsel. Art thou here yet? Madam, what should I do? Run to the capital and nothing else? And so return to you and nothing else? Yes, bring me word, boy, if thy lord look well, for he went sickly forth, and take good note what Caesar doth, what suitors press to him. Hark, boy, what noise is that? I hear none, madam. Prithee, listen well. I hear a bustling rumor like a fray, and the wind brings it from the capital. Do you hear that? Do you hear that roar? Do you hear the crowd from the capital? Sooth, madam, I hear nothing. Okay, a soothsayer comes in, who may or may not be Artemidorus. Come hither, fellow. Which way hast thou been? At mine own house, good lady. What is the clock? About the 9th hour, lady. Is Caesar yet gone to the capital? Madam, not yet. I go to take my stand to see him pass on to the capital. Thou hast some suit to Caesar, hast thou not? That I have, lady. If it will please Caesar to be so good to Caesar as to hear me, I shall beseech him to befriend himself. Why? Knowest thou any harms intended towards him? None that I know will be, but much I fear may chance. Good morrow to you. Here the street is narrow. The throng that follows Caesar at the heels of senators, of praetors, common suitors, will crowd a feeble man almost to death. I'll get me to a place more void, and there speak to Caesar as he comes along. And he walks off to find a place to stand by the road where Caesar's entourage is going to pass by, so he can slip him a note. Portia says, I must go in. Ah, me, how weak a thing the heart of woman is. O Brutus, the heavens speed thee in thy enterprise. Sure, the boy heard me. Brutus hath a suit that Caesar will not grant. Oh, I grow faint. Run, Lucius, and commend me to my lord. Say I am merry. Come to me again, and bring me word what he doth say to thee. And they all leave. And that finishes off Act 2.